for subscriptions they didn't even know they had or they don't even use. And I just feel like you could go to Starbucks with that money. Like, you could go to Aritzia. Like, you could get a facial. Like, there's so many things you could do that I could think of. Better use of my money. Like, having a good time. Hey there, my handsome and little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobras Nest. For those who are new, my name is Mignon Cobra and I make minimalism videos. So today's minimalism video is going to be I stopped buying stupid stuff. And I hope that this can help out my little Cobra babies if you guys are on a finance journey trying to get your money shtick together. I got 5 things that I want to share with you guys because I had a student loan of $70K, which I paid off in full, didn't even pay any interest. So I knew a thing or two about tricking the mind into making better money decisions instead of buying more poo that you don't need, and at the end of the year you're like, what did I do? So without further ado, let's just get this video. Let's get it. Let's go. Whew. So coming in at number 1, which is the most obvious, I made it a priority to save money. And I started when I really didn't have a lot. I think I was making like 40 bucks an hour at a tutoring school part-time, and I just like squirreled it away. I would buy like really cheap things to try to stretch the dollar. I remember like eating at 7-Eleven or eating at the school canteen to like save money. I was a student at the time. And yeah, I would just save as much of it as I could. I would set aside like, okay, this is how much I'm going to save. This is what's left over, and this you can spend. And I just kept doing that pattern over and over and over again. Every week, that was the priority. And then every week, like the weeks turned into months. The months turned into years. It took me 4 years to pay off my student loans. So it was not a fun 4 years, but I'm so glad that I did it because I wouldn't be here today if I still had those student loans. Coming in at number 2, don't buy subscriptions. I had a friend that even though we were living in China, he still had subscriptions. I think he had a Spotify subscription. I don't even know how. I think with his American bank account. He was living in another country and he still managed to have subscriptions. He even had like iQIYI, which is like the Chinese Netflix. He paid like, I don't know how much he paid. It wasn't super expensive, but me and Will would go over and watch movies on his subscription. My point being is try to limit as few subscriptions as possible. I will be fully transparent. I don't have any subscriptions. I never have. Yeah, I never had subscriptions, like full transparency. I can't even give you the advice. Pick your favorite. Like it's free on the internet. There's YouTube. You can listen to the radio. Like everything you want is more or less free. Fine, it's not convenient. It's not the song that you want, although you could technically still pick the song that you want on YouTube. But ads, I know, but I'm just telling you what worked for me, and I just did without subscriptions. But I know that most people are not radical or extreme like me. So if that tip isn't for you, I would say pick the ones that you do like. Limit it to like no more than like 2 or 3 and get rid of the rest. I've seen on these like finance channels, some people have a ridiculous amount of subscriptions. They have like 10 subscriptions, or they're being billed for subscriptions they didn't even know they had or they don't even use. And I just feel like you could go to Starbucks with that money. Like, you could go to Aritzia. Like, you could get a facial. Like, there's so many things you could do that I could think of. Better use of my money. Like, having a good time. Literally going to LCBO and, like, drinking soju than to waste money on a subscription I don't like or am even aware of. Okay, coming in at number 3. Why are you buying an iPhone if you don't even own the stock? So that's the thing that kept me from buying an iPhone for the longest time. So I went from the iPhone 4 to the iPhone 16 to give you an idea of how long I went in between before buying an iPhone. So I think I read this from Rich Dad Poor Dad, I want to say. It was a really long time ago that I read that he's like, the average consumer has an iPhone but doesn't even have the stock. And I felt really ashamed because at that time I think I owned all of like 3 stocks. I had like $50 in the stock market, and I was like, how can I justify buying a phone, which at the time, the iPhone at the time was $1,000. I was like, how can I justify buying an iPhone if I don't even have the equivalency in Apple stock? So because of that, I decided that I was going to put my financial health first, and I was aggressively buying stocks till I had an iPhone worth of Apple before I bought the iPhone. So yeah, if you don't have a certain amount of stock of some product, what are you doing buying the product if you don't even have the stock? Now, I'm not advocating for you to go buy Apple stock. That's not the point of this video. The point is to kind of put into perspective that you should have some assets first before you have some liabilities. Like, no one's saying you can't have an iPhone. Like, I'm not saying don't have an iPhone. I have an iPhone. I have an iPhone and I have an iPad mini, and like I have a MacBook. So this is not to be hypocritical, but it's just to let you know that shift your perspective about money, what you can buy with money. Use your money to buy more money instead of only buying poo that just makes you poorer. Okay, coming in at number, I want to say 4, enjoy producing over consuming. So for me, that was a really big shift. When I put a hard break on not buying anything, I was an extreme minimalist for 2 years. I bought like next to nothing. It was a really extreme, hard, like low buy, no buy. I had like nothing to do with my time, guys. Like I legit was bored out of my mind. So what did I do? I started a YouTube channel. I was like, I have nothing to do. So that trained me for a solid 2 years of not buying anything to like produce media. And at first I hated it. Like I love shopping, and I loved and still love like I like shopping. Like it's really effortless. Like it's really fun. Like I can shop. Like I can have a good time shopping. And video editing was so like laborious, was so tedious. Like I was new to it and it sucked and I didn't really like it. But as the months went by and I got better at it, now that I've been like YouTubing for like 7 years, I crave the feeling of productivity video editing. So sometimes if I feel like an itch, like I want to go shopping, I'm like, I'll get that same like scratch to just go video edit. So I'll like video edit a video from start to finish, which will take me like an hour or two. Once that's done, it's like that was productive, instead of like, oh, I could have just doom scrolled on Instagram or gone shopping at Aritzia. But the YouTube video gives me the same dopamine. And that only happened because like I trained myself to do that, because I was like, I need to find some sort of consumption or thing to do that doesn't involve shopping. So I was like, okay, let's just go video edit. The next point, whatever number this is. So the next thing I want to suggest, not saying you need to, but that would be to embrace minimalism or a light form of minimalism. Like I'm not saying become an extreme minimalist. You could if you wanted to. That's what I did. I did that for all of 2 years. But maybe incorporating some elements of minimalism can really help with you to stop buying so much poo. I really like buying stuff. Like I really do like buying stuff. I've kind of swapped it out because like I've actually really enjoyed like the no clutter of minimalism. So I've kind of realized that like how can I have my cake and eat it too? I can have a little amount of stuff by buying the most expensive things I can possibly buy, which limits how frequently I buy it and also the amount of space that it takes up. Because if I were to buy like drugstore or just like run-of-the-mill stuff, like my purchasing power would go way too far. I would just fill my room with poo. So because of that, I use minimalism as the safeguard to keep me from accumulating clutter and also buying a bunch, like just wasting my money. It makes me like really selective about the things that I want. If I can give that suggestion to do minimalism like has changed my life. Like it is there's like 2 things that have changed my life: Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and minimalism. So just absolutely like a godsend. I think I would still have a heavy duty shopping addiction if I hadn't discovered minimalism all of 10 years ago. Like I definitely had a really bad shopping addiction and I had student loans. It was like a really bad combination. Minimalism saved me, like hands down saved me. I would not be where I am today financially if I had not discovered minimalism. But I know that's like a really personal thing. Not everyone loves radical lifestyles. So I can just suggest some aspects of minimalism. Don't buy so much stuff. Don't accumulate so much clutter. Be a little bit more intentional with the things that you do buy. Try to buy less but the best. Those are some good minimalism aspects, or even just in general, just shop less frequently, shop a little bit more intentionally, I think are great minimalism tips to incorporate into your life. And then the last tip, I want to say this is like 5 or 6, I'm not sure, but the last one is improve you. Spend the money on you instead of on more stuff. So in my extreme minimalism, because I couldn't buy anything, like I had like not disposable income. I really didn't have disposable income. Most of it was going towards student loans, but the like allocation of money that I did have, like I could have bought something with it or I could have spent it on me. So during that time period in my extreme minimalism, I had like the last 10 pounds. Like I've always been kind of like a chunky kid. I had like these last 10 pounds that like I could not get rid of. Like I had already lost like 20 pounds and I had 10 pounds left. Since I couldn't just like scroll and shop, I was like, I used the time to like lose the last 10 pounds. So I started improving in myself. At the time, I also kind of gave up makeup. I stopped wearing makeup. So I kind of like let my skin breathe. I wasn't buying any hair products. I let my natural hair grow out. I'm like, I'm not wasting money on stuff. Why don't I do something more productive? So I was like, okay, like let's actually try to like lose the last couple pounds. And the last couple pounds only came off because I decided to like learn about health. Like I watched Dr. Berg and he taught me about like insulin and insulin resistance, and I was like, wow. And I started working out, I started fasting. I'm not saying you need to do any of these things, that's not the point of this point, but it's just to kind of say like, you know what, why don't you spend the money on like you and like investing in something? Maybe invest in your health, maybe finally invest in that gym membership. Like you might be able to afford it if you stop doing so many Target runs. I'm just like giving you guys like the the hard love, because I think honestly, when you respect the dollar and you make more intentional choices, you start living your best life. Like honestly, like it all really comes together. And at the time, like I was really young when I started this journey. I think I was like in my early 20s. I was still kind of like not fully developed. Who I am now in my mid 30s is really different from who I was 10 years ago. So I really couldn't see the benefits long term. I really could not see the benefits of discipline, of saving money. Like I did it out of necessity. Like I had no choice. Like I had to pay these student loans off. So I had to develop these discipline hacks. I had to have the money ready to make the payments. So it was like a practice that I didn't want to do. Like I just wanted to go shopping. Like I just wanted to shop. I just wanted to go out and eat. I wanted bubble tea. I wanted luxury goods. Like I just wanted to go to the movies. Like I just wanted to have a good time. And I didn't do those things in my 20s, but it really set me up for success in my 30s. And so because of that, I want that for my Cobra babies, especially if you are on the younger side. It doesn't seem like fun, especially when your peers are having a lit time, but trust me, it will pay off. Like at the time, I really didn't think it would pay off the way that it has. It really, really, truly has. So this is your sign to stop buying so much dumb stuff. I'm not saying you can buy dumb stuff, but make sure the money is in order. So yeah, I hope that you guys could have enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.